Hi, this is Sean O'Hare from Clear Lake, Iowa, and this episode is brought to you by IVNV Patreon supporters like me. Learn more at patreon.com/IVNV. Next!
Within 5 days, the Cubs have called up their two top prospects. Damn, I'm going to start it again. Within 5 days, the Cubs have called up their two top prospects from AAA. Last week it was Chris Bryant, now Addison Russell. On this episode, we're going to talk about this call-up, why it happened, and how wrong we were in predicting the timing of it. Like we did with Chris Bryant, we're going to look at the impact Russell will have on the 2015 Cubs. These topics and more on this episode. It is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2015, and you're listening to the 310th episode of the IVMV podcast. Hi, and thanks for downloading this episode of the IVMV podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts. My name is Corey, and I am joined by the other two hosts of this podcast through a Google Plus Hangout.
Hey, it's Andy.
And Kurt.
Kurt, you decided to join us. Is there any particular reason why you might want to talk about the Cubs during the middle of the week?
No, just happened to have some free time on this beautiful Wednesday. No, I really wanted to talk about service time issues and the collective bargaining that's coming up.
And Wellington Castillo, David Ross, that situation.
Yep, exactly.
Herrera. There's lots of topics to discuss tonight.
Yep.
So yeah, I kind of figured. I think I sent you a text and I asked you if you wanted to be on the episode. I thought the Addison Russell promotion might entice you.
Yeah, it's been a big week, so I thought I'd see what I could do.
I
did get the kid to bed finally, so I just snuck in under the wire.
I did enjoy your response to my text though, and it was, and I quote, it reads, "Not sure why you would want me on. I predicted Bryant in late May and Russell in June to August."
This is true. This is true. So hopefully I can make some more bold predictions tonight. We'll be completely wrong. What other prospects do we need up in a hurry? And then I can predict when they'll come up, and then they'll be up like tomorrow.
Well, predicting this front office is not easy now. They were fairly predictable for the last 3 or 4 years. So, yeah, we recorded Sunday night, and then on Monday, I read a few articles that made the case for calling Russell up this week, and I thought, well, that makes sense. And then Monday night, they call him up. But I do want to say that, and Bob from Moline can verify this, when I was in Vegas last week, I talked about how I thought the Cubs might call up Addison Russell sooner than we would have thought at the beginning of the season. And, in fact, I wondered if they wouldn't call up Bryant and Russell at the same time. And that's essentially what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked about that with Bob last week. And then we got behind mics on Sunday, and I totally played it safe on my prediction. And look what happened. I could have looked brilliant. And I sat down, I'm like, no, I better be realistic.
That's what a lifetime of being a Cubs fan will kind of do to you.
Right. So, unless you live in Tennessee, and you can go see the Smokies games regularly, most of us have not seen a ton of Addison Russell. We got to see him a fair amount in spring training, but since he came over in the Samardzija trade last July, he is not a player that we've been able to follow since he was drafted, unless you're also a big fan and you track the Oakland A's minor league system. But, Andy, could you kind of summarize Russell's performance in the minors?
Yeah, he's overall, I mean, he hasn't been in the minors that long. He was drafted as the 11th overall pick in the first round of the 2012 draft, and by Oakland, of course. and he's been in the minors just for 4 seasons. So his numbers down there were pretty good. He slashed over those 4 seasons 301, 377, and 520, and he had an 897 OPS, which is pretty darn good. He showed pretty good plate discipline, as he had around a 10% walk rate and a 20% K rate over those 4 seasons. So numbers are pretty good. Last season, as you mentioned, he spent the bulk of his time in Tennessee, where he hit 294. OBP was 332, slugging 536. Over the course of his time in the minors, he's hit 38 home runs, so he does have some pop in his bat. But he's not the speediest guy, but he can run. He had 44 stolen bases over his 4-year minor league career as well. Now, as far as the way he's been ranked as a prospect, Keith, let's see. Baseball Prospectus this season surprised everybody by ranking him number 1 in the Cubs system over Chris Bryant, and a lot of people saw that as being partly due to positional value, and then where Chris Bryant might end up. So they had him at number 1 in the Cubs system and number 7 overall in their top 101. And then in 2014, Baseball Prospectus had him ranked number 1 in the A system overall and number 22 out of their top 101. The past few seasons, is for Keith Law's, as far as Keith Law's rankings go, he was ranked 4th overall in Keith Law's top 100 for this season, and that came out in January. He was actually 3rd overall in 2014, so you were wanting me to talk about his elevation in the prospect rankings. He actually went down on Law's list from 2014 to 2015, but he was 10th in 2013 on that same list. So it's been mostly upward, mostly on the up and up as far as his prospect ranking is concerned.
So how long was he in AAA? 10 games?
Yeah, he played 11 games. He only had 46 plate appearances, so he was not there long.
So what do you guys make of the front office philosophy of, we like guys to spend a year in AAA? And we've heard that for a couple of years. What do you make of this 11 games? That's enough.
Obviously not true. I mean, it's hard to, take a philosophy based on your best prospect or maybe one of your best 2 prospects. I suppose if anybody's going to fall outside the mainstream thought, it's got to be, Russell and Bryant. But it definitely was surprising. I mean, like I've said, and predicted that I thought it for sure would be after Super 2. Why not just wait at least to push that arbitration out? But yeah, this is a pretty big surprise, I think, to a lot of people. Anybody who says they knew this was happening, they had a source.
Well, I think if the articles that I read made a good case for it, and it kind of made sense. I mean, I guess just in looking at how little production the Cubs were getting from second base, and if this really was, I mean, based on what we've seen so far, this looks like a competitive team. And if it's a competitive team, you would hope that your top prospect in the system that's sitting in AAA, regardless of how many games he's been at AAA, you would think that he could probably hold his own or at least outperform what the Cubs had at second base, which was essentially nothing. I mean, I think they were getting less production there than when they had Darwin Barney at second.
Yeah. And I suppose there's some argument to be made, too, that once Bryant was up, what's the point in holding Russell back? Because, you could have done the same thing with Russell next year that they did with Bryant this year.
Right.
But I think, like I said, the argument could be made, what's the point? I mean, get these 2 guys on the same track, gives you 6 years. So,
Yeah.
just get the ball rolling. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely like the move. It was just surprising.
Yeah, and I think the philosophy of wanting prospects to play a full year at AAA, that's fine when there's really no reason to pull them up. I think that's what it boiled down to, was that they were trying to kind of slow play things to get things to line up like it has, and so I think that philosophy will go out the window now, and I think that they'll call up players when they need them. I think I think that's pretty much what we're going to see with this group of prospects from here on out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's still a case-by-case basis. I mean, you can kind of compare Bryant and Russell. I liked what Kurt said about how these guys are kind of exceptional when you're looking at a typical prospect's path to the bigs. But Chris Bryant had a good, healthy amount of games played in Iowa, but Addison Russell had more of an extensive minor league career than Chris Bryant. So I don't think it was as important for him to get as much time in at AAA, since he had played in the minors a little bit longer than Bryant.
Yeah. Well, regardless, it happened, and we didn't predict it. But we're talking about it, so that counts for something. So for now, it looks like we don't have to worry about what we're going to do with all these shortstops. Castro is staying put, as he has been, in the words of Joe Madden, playing the crap out of shortstop.
I love that.
That may be my favorite Joe Madden line so far.
And the nice thing is he's not even totally blowing smoke. Like, he has been playing
Right.
really well, and yeah, he's been playing the crap out of shortstop. And
He
hitting,
has.
so
Right. I think this might be a good thing for Castro, that he can play a role rather than carry the,
mhm.
we're going to get into this, and we kind of talked about it before on the last episode, but you would head into extra innings last year, and you just knew, okay, if Rizzo and Castro were up and didn't produce anything, you just hope that you could hold on, the pitching staff could hold on for another 2 innings to give those guys a chance again. And that's not the case now. Like, this lineup is pretty ridiculous. And as far as potential, I guess, and what they can do, and what we've seen them do over just a couple of games, but I think that it's good for Castro to not carry the load and not maybe have so much pressure on him. And I think that, I've kind of dismissed the whole, he's probably, now Castro's going to focus and because he's got competition and he's got Addison Russell. I haven't really bought that, but at the same time, when the guy standing next to you is somebody that wants your spot, I think it would be easier I think it would be help you maybe be a little bit more determined or something. I don't know. But I want to be clear. Like, I don't question Castro's work ethic or anything like that. I think he's fantastic.
Well, and I think that's and we've said this before too, but like, how easy it is to discount established major league talent over prospects. Like, prospects are still prospects. Addison Russell is still a prospect, and he's probably going to be a damn good player, but Starlin Castro is already a good player. He's already a 3-time All-Star. He's already close. He's going to hit 1,000 hits in no time. It's like he's already a really good Major League Baseball player. And that's what you hope prospects become, is really good Major League Baseball players. They're not all going to be Hall of Famers, and so, like, just to discount that for the next, big thing is a mistake, I think.
Right.
Even though he sometimes forgets where he is.
I find it endearing, though. I love when he goes up with sunflower seeds and warms up by hitting them, spitting them, and then hitting them. I love it.
Or he throws a whole handful at his face and one goes in his mouth.
That's my favorite video that I have on my phone right now, is the one where he's spitting sunflower seeds and trying to hit them with his bat stepping outside of the batter's box to do it. I love it. So the infield will be Bryant at third, Castro at short, Russell at second, and Rizzo at first. Rizzo is the veteran at age 25. Although we kind of laugh about that, but he does play like a veteran. And here's something to make you guys feel old. Every Cubs infielder was born after lights were installed at Wrigley Field.
Wow. That is pretty ridiculous when you put it that way.
That's my scary stat of the week.
Yeah.
Actually, I do have a scary stat of the week. Do you have one, Kurt?
I don't.
Yeah, because we don't do the scary stats, but I heard it on the way over here, and actually, I was coaching baseball and t-ball tonight, and listening to the Cubs on the way back, and I actually saw this on Twitter last night, and I believe the stat is that last season, the Cubs were 0-79 when trailing in the ninth inning, which
That's brutal.
it's like I don't think you can come up with a scarier stat.
That's brutal, and they've already broken that streak this season, which is
Right.
great.
Yeah.
My goodness.
In fact, yeah, it's like you come to expect it. Like they're down in the eighth, you're like, yeah, no worries, it's fine.
Right. I know. Isn't that amazing? Like, it's the most confident I've been. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm allowing myself to be more optimistic than I probably should be, but I'm just having fun with it. Like it's a lot of fun to watch these games, and then like when you see Rizzo, Soler, Bryant coming up, it's just like, wow.
I know.
This is amazing.
And those guys are like getting on base right now. I mean, they're all playing so well, but man, this is totally uncharted waters for us. Like, we have never just sat here and basically like essentially we're Beavis and Butthead right now. like it's just like Chris Bryant. Oh man.
Beavis and Butthead and one more. I don't know what
Right.
number 3 is.
Right.
And there's probably just two buttheads.
Beavis. But I mean, I don't know. I really like, this is my conversation that I'm having with Cubs fans right now. Like, I go to work, I'm just like, this is amazing. I love this. I love this feeling. I love, like you said, Andy, I love when the Cubs are down by a run or two and you look at that lineup and it's like, it is relentless.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no easy out right now. Well, I mean, there is an easy out, but every inning is potentially huge for the Cubs. But I don't know. To jump back, to get off of the offense for a while, for a second, with that infield of Bryant, Castro, Russell, and Rizzo, I love that infield. Like, defensively, I love that infield. And I mean, I think it's, I don't think Bryant is the strongest third baseman. We talked about that Sunday night, but that double play combination of Castro and Russell could be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I think once Russell especially gets comfortable at second, which you can tell there are times when he's a little off. He's doing a good job because he's never really played there, but
he had an error tonight.
There are moments when he's a little off, but when he gets comfortable over there, it's going to be.
When I was listening to the radio last night for his debut game, and they interviewed him before the game, and he talked about really, that he needed to work on his footwork because the footwork at second base is so different than at shortstop.
And that's what the error looked like tonight. It looked like he had trouble like getting his body in the right position to be able to make the play, and it kind of looked like he was sort of thinking shortstop type footwork / angles when he tried to make the play on the ball. To me,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'm an expert when it comes to noticing that stuff. So,
Andy's our infield expert.
I am a Pee Wee coach, so I'll go along with that. Here's the thing about coaching Pee Wee. Can we talk about coaching Pee Wee kids for a second? No grasp of the strike zone at all.
I'm imagining a bunch of little Pee Wee Hermans running around for some reason.
No, this is like they're like let's see, what are they? Like 8, 9, and 10, somewhere in there. They just swing at everything.
They're just trying to keep up the pace of play.
Right, and all I'm doing is try to not hit them as I'm pitching to them. I feel like, so in the next practice, like every fourth or fifth pitch, I'm just going to throw like halfway up the backstop and see if they
I'll
swing
still
at
swing
it,
at it.
and then make them run a lap. Oh man. So I don't. Okay, so this is probably a good transition into the discussion that we had. What, 3 days ago? Would you like to change your expectations for the 2015 Cubs?
Are you sure you don't want to word it like you put in the Google Doc where you said, "Is it safe to get really excited?"
Well,
Put it in
I
all caps.
capitalized.
Yeah, you put it in all caps.
Well, I was excited.
I think
I don't remember doing that.
It's totally safe to get really excited. I've already been there, but I'm still cautious on upping the number too much because we haven't seen them come out of a slump or play. Go
That's true.
into a
There's so
slump,
much-
play
yeah.
through it, come out of it the other side without being. I mean, right now everybody's happy because they're winning, but
I don't think they're going to slump, Kurt.
yeah,
I think they're going to, I think Soler and Bryant are going to hit 4 something.
Yeah.
I think this is the 2015 Cubs.
There you go. Well, then I can't argue with that.
Well, teams are going to start to have, and along came Debbie Downer, but teams are going to start to have more and more of a book on these guys. That being said, I mean, just watching Bryant bat, I mean, this is pretty well documented too that he doesn't have a lot of holes in his swing. I mean, they're there, but
See, and I had heard that when he was in the minors. You heard about what a complete hit batter he was, and I was just kind of like, yeah, he's facing, double A pitching or triple A, yeah, whatever. And then you watch him, and I mean, like we talked about in the last episode, you watch the adjustments that James Shields had him figured out, and within a game, Russell adjusted and was taking pitches and taking walks and just getting on base. And it's like, it just feels like, I mean, other than I think he made the last out in the loss tonight, but it feels like every time he gets up, he gets on base.
Well, and just the number of pitches he sees in an at bat, like
Yeah,
it's
he
just
works a lot of
amazing,
full
like-
counts.
Yep.
some
And
of the
he's not
pitches he's
afraid
able
to
to.
just accept the walk.
Yeah, exactly. Like some of the pitches he's able to lay off. I mean, just seems like experience beyond his years.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm really having to work hard to keep my excitement and my expectations in check. I don't know. It's hard for me right now. I guess calling up Bryant and Russell have me excited, but you combine that with the fact that so many other players, like Rizzo and Castro and Soler, they're doing so well. And really, Alcantara is the only player that was really struggling, and he got sent to Iowa. And I guess the catchers aren't putting up huge numbers, but Montero's come through with some timely hitting. He did again tonight. But these guys are getting on base, and I think that can leave us frustrated if they're not able to knock guys in. But if you're getting on base, things are going to balance out, and they will score a lot of runs. And it seems like they're not leaving. It seems like they're getting guys in right now.
Yeah, if you get on base as much as they're getting on base, you will strand some guys. You're not going to score all.
Right.
So,
but I predicted 83 to 85 wins, and when I made that prediction, I was looking at the opening day roster that wasn't a ton better than last year's roster. We knew Bryant was going to come up. We didn't know exactly when. We figured we'd probably see Addison Russell this season, the lineup in August and September was going to look a lot different than the opening day roster, but I kind of kept my expectations in check because of that opening day lineup. But here we are in the third week, and the Cubs have called up their two of the best prospects in baseball. And so so many other players in the starting lineup are playing really well. The starting pitching looks good, and I look at that lineup, and then I look at the Cardinals lineup. Hashtag let's go. It's kind of funny. I tweeted yesterday that there was that the condescending smirk or whatever from Cardinals fans was going to turn into nervous laughter. I work with a Cardinals fan. Yesterday, I got the condescending smirk. Today, he was sweating. Like he basically said, "Yeah, if unless things change with both teams, this is not going to be pretty." The Cardinals haven't been able to produce much offensively, and he was just like, "These Cubs can just like score whenever they want."
Well, and the exciting thing too is like this is just the beginning of it. Like,
You know?
got all of these guys locked up for 6 more years.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Get
gonna be
ready,
fun.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be so like I know over the next few years it's going to be a really fun division. I really hope it is this year. Like it would be disappointing for I hate to say it, but like I hope that at this point I kind of feel like it would be disappointing if they won 83 games. And even though I think that would still put them in the hunt, up till the last week or so, I don't know. I'm mentally and emotionally ready for just full on those two teams going at it and it coming down to the wire or just crushing them. I would be okay with that.
See, and I'm still squarely in accepting
I'm
a chance at a wild card.
I'm
like,
trying.
To me, that's still a huge success. Like 10-game
is.
improvement over last year is a big deal.
You're right.
And to be this young and do it, I think could still be a success.
Yeah. I just think it's way too early, really, to get too terribly excited because, there's a lot of milestones between now and going to the playoffs, and there's a lot of steps, a lot of let's get to 5 games over 500, and then let's get to 10 games. It's just kind of like let's run off 6 wins in a row. Let's sweep a couple teams. I mean that's kind of what we need to see now, I think.
Yeah. Well, let's start with just taking 3 out of 4 against the Pirates in Pittsburgh. That'd be a good one.
Right, yeah. And then go to Cincinnati. Who, man, those guys are I
love seeing that train wreck.
Yeah, me too. And I have a friend that's a Reds podcaster. I listen to their show just to know what's going on, and I got a huge kick at their very first episode of the season. They were very confident in Kevin Gregg. This last episode was hilarious because they are no longer in any way confident in Kevin Gregg. Like they looked at that good, kind of unexpected good season that Kevin Gregg had with the Cubs, and I think they thought that's what he was.
Oh man,
Uh,
that's rough.
But one other thing I saw that I wanted to share, I shared the 0-79 when they were trailing in the 9th inning last year. At Wrigley Blog on Twitter shared this last night. The Cubs have spent more days above 500 this year than in the last 5 seasons combined.
Oh man,
that is brutal. Oh.
Oh yeah.
But awesome.
So I don't. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I have one more off-script topic I could throw at you guys that you could wing. No preparation. I would like somebody to explain to me why the hell David Ross is worthy of a roster spot. And I get that he's Lester's catcher and he worked with them before, and I get all that, but what the hell? I don't get it. Like Wellington has proven that he is at least a good platoon guy for his offense, but come on. I mean, Ross's receiving cannot be good enough to carry him on a roster spot as a third catcher. And everybody talks about the 3 catchers, and it's like Wellington's the odd man out. And why is Ross not the odd man out?
Well, I think I think Wellington has potential to be a starter.
He
Ross
does.
doesn't. Like Ross is a prototypical backup catcher, and that's what
Exactly.
the Cubs need. They don't need two starters, and so that's why they're just sitting there waiting for someone to need Wellington Castillo. I don't think
Also,
you want Wellington Castillo as your backup. That's just a waste.
he's also, by all accounts, a great guy to have in the clubhouse. In fact, it may have been Arietta, but somebody on Twitter the other day was asked who I don't know if it was like the funniest person was in the clubhouse, but whatever the question was, they said Ross as their answer. But I gotta imagine he's a great veteran presence in the clubhouse. So I think that's part of it too.
I mean, and I guess I do think there's some value in that, but I don't think that's full. This is me talking. I don't think it's worth a full roster spot when you consider, and I get that Wellington could start on a lot of teams, but guess what? He's under the Cubs' control. The Cubs control him. So what the Cubs want to do with him is their prerogative. And if you could land a couple of prospects, awesome, but he only makes a couple $1 million. He's not going to be a free agent for a long time. I don't know. This is a lot based on how well he's been playing, but it just feels like let them platoon. And
Yeah, I don't think you want to do that. I mean,
so what's the optimum scenario? So because to me it's like, okay, so a team loses a catcher, they get desperate, they come shopping for Wellington. His return is going to be decent, but not great.
no, I don't even think it's going to be. Yeah, I'm not even real sure it's going to be decent.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a low. I mean, it's a what?
At this point, I'd take a couple of bullpen arms.
Right. So I'm just talking like in terms of value. To me, Wellington Castillo is better on this team than he is for a couple of single A pitchers. Because you control him for another what?
Yeah, but you can't have him. I don't think you can do a true platoon when you value Montero's framing abilities so much. I don't think you're going to give up. I mean, you want Montero to but you want Montero to be your starter.
Sure.
And you don't want Castillo to be your backup.
I don't know. I take Castillo as the backup at this point. I know I'm probably sounding crazy right now, but it's just like Ross. I mean, I just can't understand how a guy earns a roster spot hitting 140.
Yeah, but that's your prototypical backup. I mean, that's Paul Bacco and freaking Coy Hill. And, that's what that is.
Yeah. But I just feel like the Cubs are in a different spot with having the three. But I don't know. I'm looking at
Castillo's
it purely
not
in terms
around.
of value. I get it. Like, he doesn't make sense as a backup. But to me, it's just value to value. He's more valuable as your backup catcher than two crappy single A arms who are never going to make the major leagues are.
Well, I think they'll get more than that.
Yeah. Single A guy. They're going to get a couple of single A pitchers.
Making predictions again.
Yeah, keep making predictions, Kurt.
All right.
They're going to trade him for like freaking Mike Trout.
Yeah. If that's the case, go for it. I will not stand in your way.
What are we going to do with all these first basemen?
Oh, man. I'm sorry. I don't know. He's frustrated me. I don't get having him on there, but I do get you need a good backup catcher. But if you're going to carry three, I don't know. One's got to go.
Yeah, one's got to go, and it's the one that is a starter that you've decided is not going to be your starter.
All right, we'll revisit this conversation when he is traded, because he will be. I get it. He'll be traded, and when it's like, all right, let's look up these guys. Like, were you guys able to find any stats on this guy from single A, low A, short season?
Modesto.
Yeah, I don't know. I never heard of
Bubblegum, Louisiana.
Yeah. We'll have this conversation again.
All right.
Try to figure out what Welly was worth.
We'll revisit this.
What Welly was worth. Some great alliteration there.
Anything else you guys wanted to talk about? I mean, we kind of set this whole episode aside to discuss Addison Russell and, kind of just where the Cubs are right now. I mean, it's like it's like I don't know, this is pretty amazing to have 2 episodes within like what 3 or 4 days, and it's like, hey, here's a reason to get excited. Oh, this is really cool. And then, hey, here's another reason to get really excited. I just don't know how to handle this, guys.
Yeah, it's hard. Hard to deal with. I don't know where to put my arms. I realized I just called Mike Trout a first baseman. That was pretty cool.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything. In fact, I was
thanks.
going to edit it out for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well,
I got your back, Andy.
all right, thanks.
But now I don't. I'm going to leave it there.
But now I don't. It's in there now.
He's just playing California, which
Now you're a freaking idiot.
always away.
So anyway,
Yeah.
what's next on the agenda?
Well, okay. I got an edit point here. Yeah, so this is basically it, right? I mean, we can move on and do the photo caption and stuff.
Yes.
Okay. All right, here we go. So we still have some tickets left for our bus trip, and I want to get rid of them. And if what we've watched in the last few days does not make you want to jump on a charter bus and take it to a Cubs game in August, I don't know what will. I give up. So we don't have that many left, but I just want to get rid of them because it's like weighing on me. So if you're in the area, or even if you're not, check it out at ivmv.com/bus. One of our Patreon associate producers, Ryan, he's flying in from Florida for the bus trip. So if you don't live in the area and you would plan a trip to see these Cubs, then consider doing our bus trip. Staying in the Quad Cities and doing the bus trip would be way cheaper than staying in Chicago. And plus, you would get to enjoy the bus ride with a good group of IVMB listeners. So again, check it out at ivmb.com/bus, and you can buy your tickets from there. If you do the Facebook and Twitter thing, which I'm sure you do, give us a follow for commentary throughout the week on all things Cubs. We are at IVMB on Twitter and ivmb.com/Facebook. So the photo caption contest, I couldn't. This is exactly the picture I was looking for, and I had to dig for it, and I shouldn't have had to dig because I should know that when you need a picture, you go to Boys of Spring.
Yeah. So the picture is Addison Russell and Chris Bryant, and they are just sitting there, just having a moment. It's not sitting, standing. They're having a moment, and they have their Ernie Banks number 14 caps on. And I can't get the picture to load.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really just the two players standing next to each other. I'm assuming they're talking to each other through a pitching change or something like that. So there is no, visual humor or anything going on like that. I don't know the right term to use, but it's a pretty straightforward picture.
Okay,
so do you have the captions in front of you, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So the first one is from Jason. Jason from New Mexico. And it says, I bet you a cheeseburger I get a homer in the majors before you. Look like the cheeseburger betting types. Caleb says, hey, Chris, you may have gotten all the hype, but they've already named a street after me. Justin wrote, hey, after this, you want to get a roast beef sandwich with some horsey sauce? And it says horsey sauce reference in parentheses.
We haven't had a horsey sauce reference in a long time.
No, man. Let's see what we have next. Chris made just a kind of a meme-esque version of the photo that just says, you ready? Let's go. Clint wrote, I bet you a cheeseburger I get a bobblehead before you. Scott says, we're going to make Boris a lot of money.
It's true.
I'm glad he restrained himself from putting a dollar sign for the S in Boris. I think a lot of people have trouble exercising restraint on that front. Nick wrote, no, seriously, I'll just get a 2-bedroom and beg Theo to call you up so I don't get stuck paying the whole rent. Don't worry, he'll owe me a favor or two. Nick also wrote, what the hell? We're all wearing the number 14 this year? Michael wrote, so I plan to give the first World Series ring to my mom. The second one I'll keep, and all the rest will go to Mark Pryor. Oh, man.
Yeah, what do you guys think about Addison Russell wearing number 22?
I'm cool with it.
I know. Although what? Didn't Carlos Pena, I think he wore 22?
That sounds right.
I don't know.
Well, then in that case, I'm not fine with it.
Didn't Garza wear 22?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, Daniel wrote, did you tell Coach Madden what we did in his motorhome that he let us use in Iowa? Hope we got the panties and smell out. Brian just wrote, what curse? Hoke, our buddy, says, so these are the guys who get to make the opening day roster, huh? Wonder which ones are going to be looking for work in May. Jason says, Addison, you couldn't at least give me a week? Adam writes, oh man, did you get that number 14 hat from de Blasio's tuxedo shop on Cicero? That guy told me I'd be the only one at prom with this outfit. So embarrassed. And now I really look like an out-of-towner for not pronouncing that correctly. Totally a Chicagoan, guys. Luis says, Russell, holy shit, it's Rizzo. Rizzo is here. Great. Oh shit. Bryant, great. He's probably saying, holy shit, it's Bryant and Russell. Russell, yeah, I'm sure he's saying that. And then it's a Top Gun reference, Maverick and Goose reference, which I thought about Top Gun today because there was a guy at work, kind of fumbling, like fidgeting around with a volleyball in the hallway.
You know, I've never seen Top Gun.
Even at Christmas. Just to look up after this Top Gun volleyball scene. That's all you need. Jeff.
That's the only scene from the movie I need to see.
Yep.
Okay.
You need to see the whole thing because it's classic 80s.
Yeah. Well, no, just the volleyball scene. Jeff says, Russell, is this heaven? Bryant, it's Wrigley Field. Russell, Wrigley Field. I could have sworn this was heaven. And that's a Field of Dreams reference.
Huh.
And that's our last entry.
All right. I think I know which one I would vote for. I have to find it. Oh, I kind of like the Nick from Wisconsin's. No, seriously, I'll just get a 2-bedroom and beg Theo to call you up so I don't get stuck paying the whole rent. Don't worry, he'll owe me a favor or two.
I like that one. Do you have one, Kurt?
I really like Jason's Addison. You couldn't at least give me a week.
Yeah, that would have been my second choice.
That's my pick, I would say.
All right. Jason, I believe he's a first-time winner.
Yeah, I think so.
Not that I would really remember because we haven't done these in like a year. So congratulations, Jason, especially if it's your first time winning. You win nothing. Although, one thing I do want to give away is the night, Andy, when we were at Duffy's on opening night, Duffy's gave out koozies for opening night. And, of course, they used the copyright Cubs logo for it.
Always a good call.
Wise decision. But anyways, so I got one of those koozies, and one of these weeks here we will announce it ahead of time, and that will be the prize for the winner for the photo caption contest. So,
nice.
Yeah. So before we wrap this thing up, last week I met with an advertising broker that is quite interested in hooking our podcast up with advertisers. I've been reluctant with this idea because I was concerned that the advertisers wouldn't be a good fit for you, the listener, and since I was able to meet with them in person, I could hash out some of the details. And like I said, they're pretty eager to work with us, and the first step is to ask you to fill out an audience survey for us. We asked you to fill one of these out about a year ago, and I will say that this time it is way, way more easy. Kurt, did you say you filled one out?
I did.
Yeah, it's like
very
7.
easy.
It's like 7 demographic questions. All of them are on one page. I think I think it would be 30 seconds. That would be my estimate of how long.
If it took you a minute, then you've never used a computer before.
Then you have racial confusion.
You're not sure who you are.
Yeah. So if you would take 30 seconds out of your day to go to ivmv.com/survey, that would be awesome. Literally 30 seconds. Should not take you more than that. So again, it's ivnv.com/survey. So that does it for this week's episode. Oh, let me start over. I'm in the habit of week. It's not a week. Okay, here we go. So that does it for this episode. This episode was brought to you by all of our Patreon supporters, and if you would like to help keep this podcast going and pay the bills, then check out patreon.com/IVMV. There are lots of perks, and you can get cool things like IVMV pint glasses, posters, stuff like that. So again, go to patreon.com/IVMV. That's patreon.com/IVMV. So we will be back on Sunday evening. I'm assuming that the Cubs won't call up another prospect between now and then, top prospect, unless Schwarber just gets called. Who knows? I don't even know. Vogelbach's hitting the crap out of the ball. Maybe they'll call him up. So the Cubs wrap up this series with the Pirates on Thursday. It is a day game, and then they go to Cincinnati for a weekend series with the Reds. If you have not checked out the Daily Northside Recap, this is a daily Monday through Friday podcast that is under the IVMV umbrella, but it's separate from this podcast. You can subscribe for free in iTunes, Stitcher, or you can listen at dailynorthsiderecap.com. And on these episodes, I recap the previous day's games in the Cubs organization, from the Cubs down through the minors, Iowa, Tennessee, Myrtle Beach, and South Bend. And it's there for you first thing in the morning, so if you have 5 minutes on your commute to work or school or whatever, check it out and get up to date with the results. So thank you for listening, and until Sunday evening, go Cubs. Dang, we were under 50 minutes.
That's good. That's
beautiful. And I still have to record the Daily Northside Recap.
Man, that ticked me off. I did so much research trying to find Addison Russell's prospect rankings, and then I saw after I had done my little segment that it's all listed on Baseball Reference on one page. Goodness gracious.
Internet.
Oh, man. That sucks.
Yeah.
Happy Earth Day.
I wish I was still recording. That was beautiful. Happy Earth Day.
I just saw it on Facebook, so I thought I'd share.
The way you said it was so good.
I go on Facebook once a month, and so that's why I never see anything on our Patreon group or anything. But so I just scroll through it thinking, well, this is stupid. These people are stupid. He's an idiot. And then I saw Happy Earth Day.
My kids were really disappointed. We have a Earth Day tradition of walking our road and picking up garbage out of the ditch. Yeah, it's amazing what we find in our... I mean, we just walk down to that barn and we'll fill up 2 garbage bags. It's so crazy.
Crazy, man. So many people
it's just
drink
like
on
tons
that
of beer
road.
cans. Like,
Yeah.
I know. It's like
Freaking hits.
Bush Light cans and stuff, and it's like, really? So you drink? I don't get that. I
Got it
can't.
down
Like,
30 pack between Galesburg and home.
right?
Oh,
I can't.
I've seen it firsthand before, so
I have never drank in a vehicle. That seems so bizarre to me.
it is very bizarre. But the farm boys, I'm telling you, you know those like metal bins in the back of their truck, the tool things, usually are full
Yeah.
of beer.
Oh yeah. One time I was getting gas in Moline, and I saw somebody reach back into that thing
Mm-hmm.
and grab a couple beers. What? Oh, that's so
The funny thing is,
crazy.
like, it seems so shocking to you, but I think what's more shocking is how common it is out in the rural areas.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen one time I pulled into a small town and I saw somebody take a drink of beer and then just put it in like their cup holder in the car, and I was like, like the first time I saw that, I was like, what?
Oh, man.
People are geniuses.
Like the closest I would probably ever come is like putting, a whiskey or something like that in a soda bottle, but I would never do that. I can't see any reason to drink in like while I'm driving. I can't imagine a scenario where that makes sense.
You didn't have the right parents to understand that scenario.
Oh man.
Facebook is the dumbest thing ever that has ever been invented. I will go on record as saying that. I've been scrolling the whole time we've ended the podcast and I haven't seen anything worth seeing. Fucking hate Facebook.
Yeah, I don't pay that
I
much
don't know
attention
why
to
I don't just
Facebook.
like get rid of it, but one of my coworkers got to meet Julian Edelman. There's
Pretty sweet.
something.
And my Pee Wee team is freaking hilarious.
Now that I want
Of course,
to
I
see
say that
pictures of
Last night or Monday night, I was ready to quit. I was so pissed off at them. I was so pissed off. But I kind of figured out a way around. They won't keep their hands off each other. They're constantly like pushing each other and hanging on each other and
Sounds
stuff.
like
And
my
so
high
so,
school.
team, right?
Sounds like my high school.
no,
just girls.
no, it's boys.
Oh, so it's not your girls. I thought it was
No, my kids are playing t-ball, so I'm coaching that team, and then I'm coaching Pee Wee too. So what I did today, when I ended the practice, I said, from now on, if I see anyone touching anyone else, you're running to, like, basically they have to run to the outfield wall to where the foul pole is and back. And, they don't like that. And then one kid goes, I really like to run, so I'll just go ahead and do it. And I said, you can do it, but I'm going to make you run until you don't like it anymore. So
You're such a badass.
Dang.
I know. So check this out. Tegan told me that on Tuesday she came home from school, and I said, oh, what? Because we had t-ball and softball started on Monday, and I said, oh, did kids say anything about baseball? And she goes, well,
I didn't hear what you said. Uh-oh.
oh, you didn't?
Yeah, you cut out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Basically, the kids, the boys in Tegan's class and the year older, at recess, were talking about how mean I am.
Awesome. And then they'll know to stay away from the girls.
Yeah, although some of the boys that understood why I was doing what I was doing, they defended my honor.
Grab ass in at baseball practice.
Oh my gosh, they would not keep their hands off each other.
Love it.
It's like high school. It's like my classes. Sounds like. Except I don't have
Gosh.
any place to make them run.
Oh man. All right, boys, I'm gonna go to bed.
All right.
I've sent you an episode title that I noted, Corey.
Saw that. I thought about it, but I'm just gonna have it be Addison Russell.
That's fine. I just like
I mean,
to throw
that's
them out so we don't forget.
right. No, I heard that one and I thought about it, but I've already created the image and everything for tonight.
Damn, multitask.
I know.
Okay. Well, happy Earth Day. you got like 2 hours left of Earth Day, so enjoy it.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Don't shower or
See ya.
something. See you guys.
Bye.
See ya.